You know, it could be like this, just like this always.
This thing grabs hold of us in the wrong place, and we're dead.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Critics Collective. I am Legacy Lingo, and I have Iris here with me. And we are happy to bring to you guys the 20th anniversary of Brokeback Mountain. It has recently been re-released in theaters for 2 days only, June 22nd and June 25th. But if you haven't been able to catch it in theaters, it is also available on Amazon Prime. Okay, now, again, this is the 20th anniversary. Brokeback Mountain came out in December of 2005. Now, the synopsis that I have is in 1963, rodeo cowboy Jack Twist and ranch hand Ennis Del Mar are hired by rancher Joe Aguirre as sheepherders in Wyoming. One night on Brokeback Mountain, Jack makes a drunken pass at Ennis that is eventually reciprocated. Though Ennis marries his longtime sweetheart Alma and Jack marries fellow rodeo rider Lureen, the two men keep up their tortured and sporadic affair over the course of 20 years. And I think that's a very accurate synopsis. Now, this movie is actually adapted from a short story with the same title written in 1997 by American novelist Annie Proulx, who's also one of the credited writers for the feature film. It had a budget of $14 million and grossed $83 million in the US and $95 million internationally for a combined total of $178 million. And is also the winner of 3 Academy Awards. So you can understand why they re-released it in theaters. This movie had big impact, and you can see why we're talking about it today. I'm going to go ahead and get into my highs and lows, and then I'll let Iris take it from there. So for me, I'm going to start with my lows if you're okay with that, Iris. I'm going to start with my lows. Pull a page from the Dad Panther.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to build it up, as he likes to say. So my lows for me is I didn't feel that Heath Ledger's character showed us enough signs of being willing or curious prior to Jake Gyllenhaal's character making that move on him. And because of that, the move kind of was upsetting. It kind of almost felt a little predatory. And it has nothing to do with the fact that it was 2 men. I mean, even if I just saw a guy and a girl and a guy just decided to just, go ahead and just position your hand on his privates, I'd be like, excuse you. What I mean? Like, I didn't feel like there was enough there to warrant that moment. If I would have liked to have seen more build up, especially with Heath Ledger's character, like maybe in that moment, when he made that move, if Heath would have gotten very angry and left the tent, and then maybe over the next day or so they didn't talk, but you could see him struggling with it, because a part of him might have liked it. That would have made it just a little bit more believable for me. And then maybe his character comes back down from the mountain, sneaks into the tent one night and tries to initiate it. And then as Jake Gyllenhaal's character starts to go with it, he maybe fights it again because he's still like, wait, I'm not sure if I want this. But then it does end up happening. And that would have flowed better for me. That would have felt better. Now I get it. It's just 2 hours and 14 minutes. So maybe they had content like that and they had to trim it. Because it's not often that people will sit in for a 2.5, 3 hour movie. So maybe that was the case, but I would have liked to have seen the buildups because, like I said, it just kind of came out of nowhere. As far as that advancement, they were bonded, we're working well together, they were good, but there was just no chemistry to initiate or give signs that was a possibility. I also didn't see enough happen between them for the two to be in such deep love so fast. I mean, for me, it felt like the only thing that was exciting about it was that it was forbidden, and maybe that's what pushed them. But then as the movie progressed, you could start to see and believe that they really did have a genuine love for each other or between each other. So I let it go. But in the beginning, all I really got was 2 guys sitting over fire, eating beans, talking about cowboy. And now they're madly in love. And I was like, man, that's like, dating must have been really smooth back then. You know what I'm saying? So what's going on to sell me. But as the story progressed, I did start to truly believe what they had going on in between them. Now, moving on to my highs, one of the things I really appreciated was that this story, the way it was told, is a reality for a lot of people back then and as well as today. It wasn't just a work of fiction for shock value or awards. which is
Mhm.
one of the things that made me, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but I didn't watch this 20 years ago because a lot of people were making it seem like it was just for shock value. If you go watch it, you're only interested in and watching two men be all over each other. And I was like, well, that's not really the case for me. But there's so much story here, and that's one of my highs here. That this is it's way more than that. It's far from just that.
Yeah.
It's really a genuine love story. And there's still a large number of people today that aren't comfortable coming out, that are trying to live double lives and or living the life they think they're supposed to. And this film is relatable no matter if it was 20 years ago or now. And I just thought it was just well done and very, very, very well put together. The honesty in all of the characters was phenomenal. But it was also very sad. I felt bad for a couple of characters in the story. But Heath Ledger's character was not one of them. Um, but Jake Gyllenhaal's character, he was willing to take the risk for them to try and have some kind of life together. And every time he thought it was a possibility that he shot his shot, Heath would shut it down, and it would just continue to break his heart. But I felt bad for Jake because he just kept hoping that one day you're going to see it my way. One day we're going to do this. One day we're going to be together. And every time that his heart got broken, my heart got broken. I was like, damn, bro, I feel you, man. And then his wife, played by Michelle Williams,
Yeah.
watching her
Alma.
suffer. Yes,
Yeah.
watching her suffer as she goes through this experience, not knowing how to approach the situation or how to fix it. It was painful. It's like she just really just didn't know how to go about it. And you could see she knew and she was suffering. I felt bad for her. And I felt bad for her and Jake Gyllenhaal's character because how they both could not fully have the love of their life. You get what I'm saying? Like they were both
Yeah.
really trying to figure out, how can I fully have you? How can I fully be happy with you? And neither one of them could get what they wanted. And so I just thought that it was just written very well. And also, I appreciated the fact that there was no true happy ending. Not that I didn't want one, but realistically, the time period that this film was based in, it was such a strong, violent presence of homophobia. A
Mhm.
happy ending would have been either very short lived or just hard to believe. And that was a big high for me. That even though I'm sure everybody wanted some form of a happy ending, they just gave us the reality of it all, especially based on that time period. But those are my highs and lows. I know I probably spoiled a little bit, and I apologize, but I really it's like seeing it for the first time. I really got fully invested, and I'm mad at myself for not giving it a shot 20 years ago. But I'm gonna step back now and let you take it, Iris. Tell me how you felt about this movie.
Okay, so in regards to the lows, I would have to agree with you. I felt like their love connection was very abrupt. Heath's character Ennis was very stoic. Like he's the strong, silent type. Kind of played off as like, I'm too masculine to show my emotions.
Mhm,
And I feel like because he kept everything so bottled up, that's what really broke his character down by the end. Um, so yeah, I would say I don't want to get too much into lows because I would kind of just be repeating what you shared.
mhm,
But in regards to highs, um, I would say that my heart broke for everyone. I don't want to say just Jake Gyllenhaal, his character Jack,
mhm,
or Michelle Williams, Alma's character,
mhm,
um, because it was four people dealing with this situation. And I felt that the movie gave different perspectives on how people could react.
mm,
Heath's character kept everything in.
right.
He wanted to be with this person, but he didn't want to be with this person because he just felt torn. Like I can't just leave my family, my wife, my kids. What about society? I don't want to live my life difficult,
Mm,
you know. Um Jake was more open, like, fuck everybody, I'ma do me.
right.
He was the more, even though he was masculine, I feel like in the character dynamics, Heath was more the masculine type, while Jake's character showed more of that feminine vibe. Hopefully not to offend the LGBTQ community with that statement, but I just meant with the difference in how they handled their sexuality.
Mhm,
Jake just like, fuck it. This is who I am. Like I tried being married to, Anne Hathaway's character, having a life with her, but I want my man. you know. Um, Anne was, I would say, more of a bitch about it
Mhm.
when she eventually finds out, which is true. Some people handle it like, "Hey, f you," you know? And then, of course, Alma, Michelle's character, like, she was angry, but you can see the heartbreak. At the same time, she still loved her husband, you know? And you're right in regards to the fact that, I love you, but will I ever be enough for you? Because not that you don't love me in return, but you're never gonna love me how you love him. And that's
It
heartbreaking
mm,
because it's like you're settling. You're settling for me because, and I like the reality of the movie, and you get everyone's different perspective, because that's what happens in real life. Everyone reacts to the situation differently,
true.
Um, and I have to agree with you in regards to. I know it's probably a terrible thing to say, but one of my highs was the fact that it didn't have a happy ending. It had a realistic ending,
Right.
you know? And at the end, when you finally get to see the raw emotion of Ennis, his character, aka Heath Ledger,
Mhm.
you really finally connect with him, at least in my opinion, on an emotional level. Because I cried. I
Mm.
cried back in 2005 when I first saw the movie, and I cried when I rewatched it just as a refresher. Um, so I mean, other than that very predatory pounce on each other, that I was like, damn, like you was about to rape him,
Mm.
like the hell.
Excuse
Um,
you.
I'm like, it's like, give me space. I don't want to touch your penis, Um, which Jake got very lucky because Ennis could have gone a
It
different,
could have gone a different
completely
way. It could have
different
gone a
way.
different way.
It
Yeah.
would have been real Brokeback Mountain
Which
because
is
he
why
would have
we needed,
broke
why we
that
should have
ass.
more signs of allowing that, because it really was like,
Yeah,
man, you bold. You
yeah,
bold.
like consent, bitch, consent. The fuck? But yeah, I thought it was a moving movie. Then I even feel that it's more relevant now,
Mm,
even though it feels like 2005 wasn't that long ago, but it was 20 years ago.
mm,
Um, and I feel like this movie will continue being relevant in our society
mhm.
as time goes on.
Absolutely.
Um, so yeah, those were my highs and my lows for this movie. Yeah, it's such a moving movie. And the funny thing is, just as a fun fact, for that movie, I believe Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal won for Best Kiss.
Yeah, they probably should have won
They
Best
did.
Picture, but
They won for Best Kiss. I think they did. I
I mean,
think they did.
yeah, they didn't hold back, so you
They
gotta give them
didn't.
their credit.
They didn't.
They for them for that not to be the life that they lived. They fully embraced the character and went all in.
Yeah.
So you have to credit an actor who can step aside from, well, this is not my sexuality, this is not what I do. Like, this is the role. I'm gonna play it. And so they
Yeah.
deserve that win because
Yeah, that's crazy. Like for to be two in real life, two heterosexual men, and I have to be intimate with another man when, hey, I am into women, like I'm a married man,
right.
like you know,
Yeah,
it's
they played
like
the hell out of that role.
they
They deserve
did.
more. They should have gotten more. Should have
Did.
gotten Best Picture, but that's probably a conversation for another day. I can go all night with
Yes.
that one. All right, so, but let's go ahead and rate this thing. I'm interested to see where you're going to place it. In true Critics Collective fashion, we give accolades here. Accolades going from 0, the lowest, 5, the highest. 5 being excellent, a must watch, highly recommended for all viewers. 4 accolades, good, worth watching, but has notable flaws. 3 accolades, average, some enjoyable moments, but lack significant impact. 2 accolades, below average, some redeeming qualities, but generally disappointing. 1 accolade, poor quality, not recommended, or 0 accolades, horrible, absolute trash. Iris, how many accolades are you giving this movie?
Honestly, I'm actually gonna give this movie a 5
Mm, all
due
right.
to its, you know, how relatable and how
Mhm,
relevant it
mm.
is. I do feel like this movie is going to go on as on history, as being one of the great movies that people judge it, thinking, oh, it's just, a movie about LGBTQ, sexual, and it's more than that. It
It's a lot
really
more to it.
is a
It's a
love
true love story.
story.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's heartbreaking, you know. So yeah, I think this is a very excellent interpretation.
I agree with you. It's not just about sexuality, it's just a true love story, no matter what the sexuality is. But those lows for me. It I
The
swear
predatory,
it
the
did feel it
predatory.
felt very predatory. Like I said, doesn't
Oh,
matter if it was
uh,
a man and a woman or two men. It's just still
I
the
got
fact that you felt comfortable enough to grab your somebody else's hand and place it on your parts. Like, excuse you. That's how I looked at him. Like,
Like,
what is happening here? So
I think my score would have been lower if this movie would have went in a different direction.
mm,
Then I would have been like, yeah, that was very predatory. He didn't like that. This,
right. It worked out,
but it
but
worked
it still
out.
made me
So
a little
because
uncomfortable.
it works out, I was like, okay,
Well, I'm
that's
gonna give it a 4. I thought it was like you said, it's very relatable, very good, and it is a timeless movie because no matter what decade you're in, there's somebody that is going through this. There, like I said, there's so many people that are still not comfortable because of their upbringing or their surroundings to come out, and they're with somebody because they live the life they're supposed to live,
hmm
but they're struggling with their feelings on the life that they would prefer to live. So this is gonna be, in 20 years it'll be releasing again. People will constantly talk about this
hmm
and it is a classic, but I'm gonna have to give it a 4. But I respect your 5 because it is a phenomenal movie. The character development, everything, and the way you broke it down, also with the saying is basically the reaction of 4 different people. That actually helped me a little bit because I was really mad with Heath Ledger's character with the way he was treating both his wife and
yeah,
and
it's because
Jake
he was
Gyllenhaal's
being
character.
torn between two people.
Right,
So that anger is understandable. It's like because you just want to tell them both, leave me the fuck alone.
right. Wait, but he also I'm not gonna get into that. But anyway, this is a great movie. No, so like I said, this was available June 22nd and June 25th in theaters. For if you haven't seen it on the big screen and you get the opportunity to see it on the 25th, go for it. But if you want to watch it and you can't make it to the theater, it is available on Amazon Prime, and you might even be able to find it on a couple of other platforms. But I recently watched it on Amazon Prime. All right, so this again was Brokeback Mountain 20th anniversary. It was a pleasure talking to you guys about it. I have the beautiful Iris here. I'm Legacy Lingo. We are the Critics Collective, and we will see you guys on the next one.